Okay. So in last class, we were analyzing this problem and we were trying to develop a finite element formulation for a 3D body for general loading scenario. I had given you some places where there is, yeah. So we were discussing a scenario where this body is supported by such a boundary condition, and then it has been acted upon by all n number of forces as shown. I have shown various types of loadings like surface load, then point load, line load, so on and so. And then we had found out the expression for strain energy stored in the body in deformed configuration. I hope all of you are with me till this point. If you are, please type your response in chat box. Are you with me till this point? I'm waiting for your response. Once I get the response, then I will go ahead. Yeah. So now the task is, as I said, the primary unknowns are displacement fields, that is U, V, and W. U, V, and W are displacement fields. U is the x directional deformation at a given point x, y, z. V is y directional deformation at a given point having coordinates x, y, z. And W is z directional translation at a given point with coordinates x, y, z. So these are displacement fields. You change the point and I'm going to give you different value of u, v, w. So we call them as displacement fields. So first let us convert this expression of strain energy into primary unknowns, which are displacement fields. So we are going to use the strain displacement relationships. So what are the strain displacement relationships? So I can write this strain tensor which consists of 6 independent elements. So I will write those. So you are going to have epsilon xx, epsilon yy, epsilon zz, then epsilon gamma xy, gamma yz, and let us say gamma xz. This is the strain tensor. Are you with me till this point? Please type your response in chat box, then we will go ahead. This is some function of u, v, and w. Are you with me? Yes. Now, tell me if this multiplication should result into a matrix of 6 cross 1. And if this matrix has a size of 3 cross 1, what should be the size of this matrix? So this matrix is going to have, pardon? This matrix is going to have a size of 6 cross 3. See, number of columns of this matrix. Just give me a second. Number of columns of this matrix are equal to number of rows of this matrix. So then the resulting matrix will be of the size 6 cross 1, which is number of rows of first matrix and number of columns of the second matrix. So therefore I understand this matrix which connects strains with strains with displacements or displacement fields. This must be 6 cross 3. Are you with me? Please type your response in chat box. Have you understood this? Yes. So let me write down what this matrix is. So what is epsilon xx? Epsilon xx, we know epsilon xx is dou u by dou x. Dou u by dou x. Hopefully I am recording. Yes, it is being recorded. So epsilon xx is dou u by dou x. So how should I write? I should get epsilon xx equal to this row multiplied by this column, and that should be equal to dou u by dou x. So just यहाँ पे ध्यान दो, is it dou by dou x 0 0? See, if I expand the first row, epsilon xx is equal to dou u by dou x plus 0 into v plus 0 into w. So you are going to get epsilon xx is equal to dou u by dou x. Are you with me? Please type your response in chat box. This is absolutely crucial. Yeah. Now what about epsilon yy? So let us try to find out how do I write epsilon yy. तो epsilon yy लिखने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा? Epsilon yy has to be equal to dou v by dou y. Do you agree with me? Dou v by dou y. So it is going to be 0 dou by dou y 0. So when I expand the second row, you will get epsilon yy is equal to 0 into u plus dou v by dou y plus 0 into w. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. And epsilon zz is equal to dou w by dou z. So dou w by dou z, that means what should I write? So it is going to be 0, 0 and dou by dou z. Are you with me till this point? Please type your response in chat box. Yeah. And now we are going to write down gamma xy, gamma yz and gamma xz. So how should I write gamma xy? So gamma xy we know is equal to dou v by dou x plus y directional में x direction में जो deformation है that is dou u by dou y. Do you agree with me? Type your response in chat box, then we will go ahead. Yes. So let me write down that. So how do I write that? See dou v by dou x and dou u by dou y. So first of all, I will have to write down dou by dou y here. So it will become dou u by dou y plus dou v by dou x. So I will have to write dou by dou x here. So that it will be dou v by dou x. So what is gamma xy? Dou u by dou y plus dou v by dou x and then 0 into w. Happy? Now let us go ahead with the gamma yz. So what is gamma yz? Tell me. Gamma yz is you consider y directional deformation which is v and take its derivative with reference to z. Then you consider z directional deformation which is w and take its derivative with reference to y. So dou v by dou z plus dou w by dou y. So यहाँ पे कैसे दिखेगा? dou v by dou z. So पहले तो 0 आएगा, then you are going to have dou by dou z and then you are going to have dou by dou y. Are you able to understand what I am trying to do? Please type your response in chat box, then we will go ahead. Yes, Pooja says yes. What about others? Devayani, Swapnil, Supriya, Medha, Shubham. Type your responses quickly. You have to be on your toes to respond. Now, let us write down gamma xz. Gamma xz will be written as dou u by dou z plus dou w by dou x. So how do I write that here? Dou by dou z. So you will have dou u by dou z, then 0 and dou by dou x. So this is how this matrix looks like. So you can see that this matrix is a matrix of uh, differential operators. This matrix is not a matrix of numbers. This is a matrix of operators. Do you agree with me? And all those operators are first order linear differential operators. Do you agree with me? Type your response in chat box. Yes. So now we are going to simplify this matrix, this strain tensor, which is a matrix of 6 cross 1. We are going to denote it by epsilon, and as it is a column vector, we are going to show it in curly brackets. Are you with me? So this is epsilon. Epsilon consists of epsilon xx, epsilon yy, epsilon zz, gamma xy, gamma yz, gamma xz. Are you with me? Are you with me? Yes. And this matrix consists of this matrix. We are going to call it as B matrix. So B matrix is a uh, matrix of differential operators. And then this matrix we are going to call it as U matrix. Though I say it as U matrix, it actually involves three displacement fields, which are U, V, and W. Are you with me? So what is the size of this epsilon matrix? It is 6 cross 1. What is the size of this B matrix? It is 6 cross 3. And what is the size of U matrix? U matrix has a size of 3 cross 1. So let us write down descriptors of these three matrices. So what is matrix epsilon? It is a matrix of strain tensor at a point. Are you with me? Matrix of strain tensor at a point. Then this U is the matrix of displacement fields. Matrix of displacement field. And this V matrix is a matrix of linear differential operators. Matrix of differential operators. Are you with me? Please type your response in chat box. Then we are going to back substitute this expression in this one. Are you with me till this point? Yes. So let us try to write down now the strain energy. So strain energy stored can be written in terms of displacement field as this way. Just give me a second. Yeah. So it is given, U will be given as 1/2 is sitting there. Then you are going to have integration over the volume. Integration over the volume of epsilon transpose. So किसका transpose लेना है मुझे? Epsilon now I am going to represent it by B times U. B times U. So if I have to take the transpose of epsilon, so epsilon transpose will be transpose of this matrix, which will be equal to U transpose B transpose. Let us cross verify dimensions. Epsilon transpose should have dimensions of 1 cross 6. Do you agree with me? जैसे मैं इसका transpose ले लेता हूँ, instead of 6 cross 1, it will be a row vector with 6 columns. So it is going to have dimensions of 1 cross 6. So what are the dimensions of U? U के dimensions है 3 cross 1. So इसके transpose के dimensions होने वाले हैं 1 cross 3. And what is the dimension of B matrix? 6 cross 3. तो उसके transpose के dimension होने वाले 3 cross 6. So these two are same. So multiplication is possible. And what is the size of multiplication? 1 cross 6. So everything is consistent. Are you with me? Please type your response in chat box. Yes. So now let me write down half integration over the volume. Epsilon, I am going to replace epsilon transpose. I am going to replace it by U transpose B transpose. Are you with me? Yes. And then you are going to have C transpose sitting here. So I will write that as C transpose. This is the matrix of material properties. C is the constitutive matrix. C transpose therefore is a matrix of material properties, which are not functions of x, y, z for a homogeneous situation. And then this epsilon, I am going to treat it as B times U. So that's what I write. B times U. And then you are going to have dx, dy, dz. Are you with me till this point? Please tell me. Dx, dy, dz. Are you with me? Yes. So now let us go ahead this was the strain energy, but we were writing down the potential energy, if you remember. And I said potential energy will have one component as strain energy. So potential energy is strain energy minus, just give me a second. I was on mute. So potential energy is strain energy minus change in potential, change in potential of external load. Do you agree with me? Type your response in chat box. I am waiting for the response. Unless you respond, I am not going to go ahead. Yeah. So therefore, now potential energy of the system in deformed configuration is this strain energy, for which we have this expression, minus, let us now write down change in potential of the external load. So what is the change in potential of external load? So what are the various kind of loads? So first of all, we are going to talk about the point loads. So PI. So these point loads are going to be acting at specific points. So I'm going to call that load as PI multiplied by UI. What is UI? UI, mind you, is or in other words, let me call it as delta I. What is delta I? Delta I is the deformation in the direction of force PI at the location where PI is acting. So for example, if we consider P2, then at this point, whatever is the deformation in this direction, that deformation is delta 2. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. So इस body का इस point पे P2 के direction में जो भी deformation है, that deformation I am going to call it as delta 2. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. Yes. Yes. So that is one of the way of writing it. Or what I can do is I can have this PI's component. So I will have PI X. So X component of PI multiplied by UI. UI is the deformation in X direction, deformation in X direction at that point. Are you with me? तो दोनों तरीके से लिख सकते हैं. For time being, I am going to simply write it as PI into delta I. How many such forces are there? There are n number of point loads. So what I am going to do is I am going to take its sum from I equal to 1 to n. Are you with me? Have you understood this part? Please type your response in chat box. Yes. Now, mind you, this delta I is going to be the function of U, V, and W at that point. So, for example, if I am considering P2, this delta 2, this can be resolved into three components: X component, Y component, and Z component. X component is nothing but U at this point. Y component of this deformation is nothing but V at this point. And Z component of this is nothing but W component at this point. Do you agree with me? So, in fact, this delta I is going to be the function of U, V, and W at the point where PI is acting. Are you with me? If you are with me, type your response in chat box. Yes. Now, let us go ahead with the next load. So this negative sign sits outside. Now, if this PI and delta I are in same direction, we are going to have the positive sign to this term. If PI and delta I are in opposite direction, we are going to have negative sign for this term. So and so forth. So we are aware of the sign convention. Now let us look at the second load. What is the second load? Second load is line load. So how do I write down the deformation under the line load? So अब जरा यहाँ पे देखो, what I am going to do is I am going to draw a line load. तो line load कैसे दिखता है? ऐसे दिखेगा. Are you with me? And let us say it is ith line load. So what I'm going to do is, if I consider a small strip of width ds, then corresponding to this, what will be the value of point load here? So it is going to be intensity here, which is equal to qi multiplied by ds. So qi multiplied by ds is going to be the small point load acting at this point, multiplied by value of u, means value of deformation in the direction of qi into ds, that I am going to call it as delta I. This is going to be the change in potential of qi into ds. If I integrate it over s running from 0 to L, so it's integration over the length of the load, that is going to give me the total work done by this force, or total change of potential by this force. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box if you have understood this. It's integration from over the length. And how many such line loads are there? So such n number of line loads in general are there. So it will, or let us say, so q1 q2 up to qn. So I am going to sum this up. So I runs from 1 to n. I am going to take a sum of this. Are you with me till this point? Please type your response in chat box, then we will go ahead. Unless I have a response, I'm not going to go ahead. Okay. Now let us look at the next type of load. Next type of load is a surface load. So how do I write surface load here? So surface load लिखने के लिए कैसे लिखना पड़ेगा? So surface load typically acts on a surface. So let me say this is the surface on which surface load is acting, like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to consider a small area here. This area I'm going to call it as dA. dA is tending to 0. Whatever is the pressure on this area, that intensity is SI. So SI multiplied by dA. SI multiplied by dA is going to be the small point load here multiplied by delta I, and its integration over the area. So similar to this, I'm going to write this as SI multiplied by dA multiplied by delta I is integration over the area AI, and summation length Li here, and summation I running from 1 to n, because we have such n surface loads. On similar lines, I can write summation I running from 1 to n, integration now over the volume. बॉडी लोड देख रहे हैं हम, एंड बॉडी लोड के लिए हमने नोटेशन गैमा लिया है. सो इट इज गोइंग टू बी गैमा आई मल्टीप्लाइड बाय dB multiplied by delta I, where delta I is again a function of u, v and w at the location where this load is acting. So this is the expression for change in potential of external loads. Do you agree with me? Type your response in chat box. Yes. So let me write down now the complete expression for V in one stroke. So how do I write that? Potential energy in the deformed configuration of the body is given as half integration volume over the volume. What should I write? U transpose B transpose C transpose B transpose C transpose B U. This multiplied by dx dy dz. Dx dy dz can also be written as dv because it is integration over the volume, plus minus into bracket summation of I running from 1 to n pi delta I plus integration over Li for qi ds Qi ds into delta I, and its summation from I running from 1 to n, plus summation I running from 1 to n integration over Ai Si into dA multiplied by delta I, plus summation I running from 1 to n body loads. Now this is gamma I dV delta I over the volume Vi. So this is the expression for potential energy. Do you agree with me? Please type your response in chat box. Do you agree with me on the expression? Yes. Now, let us see what this expression is function of. U transpose is displacement field. U is displacement field. B transpose is just a matrix of operators. B is also a matrix of operators. C is material. So I'm going to write down those things. So this is a matrix of operators. Operators. C is the material. Let us not do this way. C is the matrix that says something about the material because it is a constitutive matrix. So here only variable is U, which is the function of displacement fields U, V and W. Do you agree with me? Displacement field. Happy? U, V and W. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. Yes. So the first term in the expression for potential energy in deformed configuration is a function of displacement field U, V, displacement fields U, V and W. What about the second term? Everywhere that delta I is in turn a function of U, V and W at particular locations. Do you agree with me? U, V, W at the locations of these loads. Do you agree with me? Yes. So therefore, this potential energy now is a function of displacement field UVW. Do you agree with me? Would you agree with me? Type your response in chat box. Yeah. So if I have to minimize this, I will have to take derivative of this potential energy with reference to a displacement field, which is very difficult because U, V and W, they are already functions of X, Y, Z. How do you take derivative of a function with reference to function? If I ask you to find out derivative of 3x square plus y square with reference to y, so dou 3x square plus y square by dou y is possible. But if I ask you take derivative of 3x square plus y square with reference to 3x plus 2y, now there is a complication. You will have to do substitution and all those things. Are you able to understand this? So this is something similar to this, because if I have to minimize V, I have to take its differentiation with reference to U, V and W, but U, V and W themselves are the functions. So how do I take the derivative of potential energy with reference to a function of X, Y, Z is the question that we have to answer now. Are you with me? Please type your response in chat box. I am waiting for the responses. Yes. Now comes the idea of finite element method into the finite element formulation into the picture. So these many days I was just preparing you all just to arrive at this point. Now we are talking, this is the first class in which we are now talking something related to finite element formulation. Now, let me ask you a question. UVW, these are the displacements at how many points? UVW are displacements at how many points? Displacements at how many points? Can anyone answer this question? Infinite points. Very, very good. So Sushant said it is n numbers, but infinite is the correct answer because any body will have infinite points in it, and therefore UVW are displacements at all those points. So these are at infinite points. So now tell me, to solve for the displacement at infinite points, how many equations do we need? We will require infinite equations. Do you agree with me? So infinite equations को सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा to get infinite unknowns. So that's not possible. तो अब हम क्या करने वाले हैं देखो. Now what we are going to do is, let us say this is the body under consideration. It incorporates infinite points. I will discretize this body into finite number of points. So the first step that we are going to take is discretization. Discretize. I have discretized this body now, let us say, in 10 points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let us say I have discretized this body in 8 points. So 8-point discretization has been done. I have discretized this body in 8 points. And now what I am going to do is, values of U, V, and W only at these points will be treated as unknowns. So मैं क्या करने वाला हूँ, वैसे तो अननोन कितने हैं, हर एक पॉइंट पे जो u v w डिस्प्लेसमेंट है, those are unknowns. So truly speaking, the unknowns are 3 times infinity. At every point on the body I need to know u v w, and such infinite points are there, so therefore number of unknowns are 3 into infinity. But I have discretized the body into number of finite points. I am going to name these points. I am going to call them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Are you with me? Are you with me? Please type your response in chat box. Yes. And now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take only displacements at these points as unknowns. So I'm going to consider U1 as unknown, V1 as unknown, and W1 as unknown. Similarly, I'm going to consider U2, V2, W2, U3, V3, W3, U8, V8, and W8 as unknowns. So how many unknowns do I have now in my hand? At each of this point, 3. So 3 into 8. So I have reduced now infinite unknowns to 3 into 8 unknowns. Do you agree with me? These are finite number of unknowns. Happy? Finite unknowns. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. Yes. Then what happens to the displacements between these 2 points? So what I am going to do is, I am going to interpolate. So I can so let us say u1 is the displacement at 1. Let me plot x directional displacement here as on y axis. So if this is u1, and let us say displacement in x direction at 2. Mind you, all these displacements are in x direction because I am writing them as u1 and u2. u2 is here. So in between 1 and 2, I am going to interpolate it. Are you with me? This can be a linear interpolation, it can be quadratic, it can be nth order polynomial, anything. But the idea is, I will express x directional displacement of a point in between 1 and 2 as a function of displacement, x directional displacement at 1 and x directional displacement at 2. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. This is very crucial. Let us say now at point 3, the displacement is negative. So I am going to call this as U3. It's all right. I am going to interpolate between U2 and U3. So if this is the point under consideration, its x directional displacement is this much. If I stick with the linear interpolation. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. Yes. So जरा यहाँ पे ध्यान दो. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm going जो infinite unknowns है, truly speaking, those I'm going to divide it. I'm going to convert them into a finite number of unknowns by discretizing the continuum. जो continuum था उसको discretize किया, and in between the node points for discretization, the displacement will be क्या बोल interpolated. Are you with me? I will give you an example. Let us say this is the same beam और इसका deformed shape, truly speaking, ऐसे है. This is the deformed shape. Are you with me? Please type your response in chat box. I want now someone to unmute. Is Anuja there? Devayani, can you unmute? Devayani, can you unmute? Please don't waste time in just unmuting. Yeah. So let us, this is the deformed shape of the beam. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And now, in fact, this is y directional deformation. No. There is lot of disturbance. Ganesh, you can mute. Let it be.
Yes.
Let you, Ganesh, you can mute. Yes. Let it be. So now, if this is a continuum, then at each and every point, I would like to know its y directional deformation. So in that case, the number of unknowns will become infinite. Instead of that, let me discretize this continuum, and let me discretize only in two parts. So this is part number one, this is part number two. So I have discretized by introducing a node here, and this, each of these parts we are going to call them by definition elements. So I have discretized this continuum into two elements, 1 and 2, by introducing an additional node in between. So you have a start node, you have end node, and you have a middle node. This node divides the entire continuum into two elements. Now, I know I will treat the displacement at the middle node as unknown, at the end node as unknown, and at the start node as unknown. So I know at start node the displacement is 0, at end node displacement is something. Then after doing the finite element formulation, I get the displacement here. I obtained the displacement here because I was treating this displacement as unknown. So I am going to call this node as 1, 2, and 3. So V1 is 0, that is y directional deformation at 1. V3 is 0, no doubt. This is known. And V2 we have obtained after FEM formulation. FEM formulation hone ke baad, after running minimization of potential energy and everything, I have obtained V2 because I had treated V2 as unknown. जो नोड्स है वहां की ही डिस्प्लेसमेंट में अननोन पकड़ने वाला हूं. V2 is now known quantity. Are you with me? Please type your response in chat box. Are you with me? Devayani says my voice is breaking. Is the problem same with everyone else? Okay. So V2 is known. Uh, Now, once V2 is known, what I am going to do, I am going to do, let us say, the linear interpolation. So once I do the linear interpolation, the deformed shape by FEM is going to be this one. And you will see that this deformed shape does not agree with the actual deformed shape. Are you with me? ये तो agree नहीं हो रहा है. That's all right. So what do I do now? Now I am going to divide this beam into more number of parts. So let us say I have divided this in this many number of parts. The actual deformed shape is this one. But after solving, after using the finite element formulation, after doing minimization of potential energy and everything, now my unknowns were V1, which is equal to 0, V2 is known now because I have taken the y directional deformation at second node as unknown. So V2 will be known after the minimization of potential energy. Similarly, V3 is the displacement here that is known. Because I would have obtained that, I would have treated V2 and V3 as unknowns. I would have run the minimization of potential energy and I would be knowing V2 and V3. And then V4 is 0. अब जरा यहाँ पे देखो, once between 1 and 2, however, I will assume the linear interpolation. So ये ऐसे होने वाला है. Are you able to imagine this? So as I go on reducing the element size, that means as I go on increasing the number of nodes, then this deformed shape obtained by FEM matches closely with the reality. In the limit, the element size shrinking to 0. Do you agree with me? Type your response in chat box. Yes. So this is the idea of finite element method. The infinite number of unknowns will be now converted into finite number of unknowns by discretization. And when we discretize within the element, we will say that the displacement varies as some interpolation function between its एंड नोड डिस्प्लेसमेंट. सो जैसे कि ये एलिमेंट नंबर 1 है, दिस इज E1, तो इसका स्टार्ट नोड है 1 एंड एंड नोड है 2. तो नोड 1 का डिस्प्लेसमेंट पता है, नोड 2 का डिस्प्लेसमेंट पता है. वी विल रन an interpolation, whether it is linear, quadratic, that all we will see later, but we will run an interpolation and we will express displacement anywhere within the element as a function of its nodal displacements, so that we can write down this potential energy in terms of only nodal displacements, and nodal displacements are finite. So therefore, I will need to minimize this potential energy now with reference to the finite number of nodal displacements. जो problem infinite unknowns का था, that has been now converted into finite number of unknowns. Therefore, the name finite element analysis. Are you with me? Please type your response in chat box, and then we are going to progress in this finite element formulation. Are you with me? Yes. Yes. So everyone is with me. Now, the first question that we are going to answer in this finite element formulation is, how do I interpolate the displacements within the element? So what is interpolation function? What is the interpolation strategy? Interpolation strategy. Then we will go back to this finite element formulation. But the first thing that we are going to learn is interpolation strategy. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. Type your response in chat box. Yes. Yes. So अब जरा यहाँ पे ध्यान दो. We are going to start with a very simple element which has just 2 nodes, and it is a line element. So it is 1D element. So we are going to start with 1D 2 node element. Are you with me? That means you have discretized the body by one dimensional elements, and you have chosen the element which has only 2 nodes, one at start and another at end. I am going to call these nodes as 1 and 2. Happy? Start node and end node of the element. And what are the known quantities, or what are the quantities that you are going to treat as unknown? And those are the quantities which will be estimated first by minimization of potential energy. What are those quantities? So displacements at 1 and 2 are known quantities. So you have to take U1, V1 and W1. These are the quantities which we take as unknowns. These are the quantities that we take as unknowns. So when we apply principle of minimization of potential energy, we will first estimate the values of U1, V1 and W1, U2, V2 and W2. And then if I ask you what is the XYZ directional deformation anywhere in between, you are going to run an interpolation. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. So to start with, we will assume that these quantities are known. So I know U1, V1, W1, U2, V2, W2. I have to express U, V, W at any intermediate point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose its coordinate as X. As it is a 1D element, you are going to have only one coordinate to be monitored, and that coordinate is X. I'm considering the first node as origin. Are you with me? First node is treated as origin. सो फर्स्ट नोड के राइट में एट डिस्टेंस x जो पॉइंट आता है उस पॉइंट को मैं बोलूंगा p, एंड आई एम इंटरेस्टेड इन फाइंडिंग आउट व्हाट इज द x डायरेक्शनल डिफॉर्मेशन ऑफ p, y डायरेक्शनल डिफॉर्मेशन एट p and z डायरेक्शनल डिफॉर्मेशन एट p in terms of u1, v1, w1, u2, v2, w2. Are you with me? In terms of nodal displacements or nodal deformations. Happy? Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. Yes. Now for this, I am going to do a seemingly different task, seemingly unrelated task. मैं क्या करने वाला हूँ? I am going to define something called as shape functions. Shape function. Why it is called as shape function? What do we mean by shape function? ये सब चीजें मैं बाद में बताऊंगा. Let us do it first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign shape functions with each of the nodes. So how many nodes are there here? 2 nodes are there. So how many shape functions will be there? N1 and N2. N1 is the shape function assigned to node 1. Are you with me? And N2 is the shape function that I assign to node 2. If you are there, if you have understood this, type your response in chat box. So जितने nodes है उन सारे nodes को मैं एक एक shape function assign करने वाला हूँ. Have you understood this part? Why am I assigning the shape function? What job it is going to do? That will be clear soon. But have you understood this? Type your response. Yes. And now I'm going to put certain conditions on these shape functions. What are the shape functions? If I consider ith shape function, so it should be 1 at ith node, and it should be 0 at all other nodes. All other nodes. This is the symbol for all. Inverted A. All other nodes. Why I am putting this condition? Forget about it right now. Just accept it as it is. We will see its effectiveness. So Ni is the shape function associated with ith node. And what is its first property? Its first property is, just a minute. The first property is it is going to be 1 at ith node, and its value is going to be 0 at all other nodes. That's how I should write Ni. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. Okay. So now let us write down N1. So I becomes 1 here. So what is the expectation on N1? N1 should be 1 at first node, and it should be 0 at all other nodes. But how many other nodes are there in this element? Only 1. So it should be 0 at second node. Do you agree with me? Chalo, let us assign coordinates to 1. So let me say the x coordinate of 1 is x1 and x coordinate of 2 is x2. Though we know that x1 is 0 and x2 is equal to the length of the element, but we will not say that. We will say that x1 will be the coordinate x coordinate of 1 and x2 be the x coordinate of 2. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. Yes. Now, what is the demand that I have? Let us address the second demand first. So I want this shape function to be 0 at the second node. What is the x coordinate of second node? X2. So if I want this function to be 0 at second node, can I write it as x minus x2? Chalo dekho, when I write a function as x minus x2, when I am at second node, x becomes x2 and it becomes x2 minus x2, which is 0. Are you with me? So the moment I say N1 will involve a term in x minus x2, it is going to vanish at the second node. Do you agree with me? If I say N1 is equal to x minus x2, it is going to be 0 at second node automatically, because in second node, x is x2. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. I am waiting for you. So Devayani, Swapnil, Supriya, Pooja, Medha, Shubham, Sumit, Farat, Akshita, Nikhil, Viraj, Sushant, Madhav, Saurabh, have you understood till this point? Yes. So जो लोग yes बोल रहे हैं, they are present physically and mentally. Others are absent mentally. So N1 is equal to x minus x2. And now what? Now let us address the first condition. What is the first condition? N1 must be equal to 1 at the first node. So at the first node, what is the coordinate of first node? X1. So if I evaluate this function at first node, it is going to be x1 minus x2. Do you agree with me? But I want it to be 1. So what I am going to do it is I am going to divide it by x1 minus x2. देखो, Now, if I define n1 in this fashion, does it satisfy both the conditions that I put forward for n1? देखो दोनों से condition satisfy हो रहा है. When I am at node 2, the value of x coordinate is x2. So x2 minus x2 becomes 0, numerator becomes 0, n1 becomes 0. When I am at node 1, x coordinate is x1. So if I substitute x equal to x1 here, it is x1 minus x2 upon x1 minus x2, which is 1. So therefore n1 becomes 1 at the first. So both the conditions are satisfied. I will denote this as the shape function for node 1. Do you agree with me? Type your response in chat box. Great. Now let me write down n2. So what is my requirement on n2? n2 has to be equal to 0 at first node. First node पे तो 0 चाहिए. And it has to be equal to 1 at second node. Do you agree with me? Why do shape functions satisfy this weird set of conditions? Don't ask now. You will understand that in a while. Are you with me? So if you have understood these conditions, please type your response in chat box as yes. Okay. So now let us write down n2. So what is the first zero wali condition पहले satisfy कर लेनी है. So where should it be 0? It should be 0 at the first node. At first node, what is the coordinate x coordinate x1? So if I write this function as x minus x1, it becomes 0 at first node. Do you agree with me? Type your response in chat box. Yes. What is its value in second node? If I substitute x is equal to x2, at second node, its value becomes x2 minus x1. So therefore, but at second node, I want it to be 1. So I will divide it by x2 minus x1. Happy? So this is the function n2. Have you understood this? Please type your response in chat box. Yes. And now I'm going to propose that x directional displacement anywhere in between this element, I am going to write it as u equal to देखो n1 u1. So shape function for node 1 into x directional deformation at node 1 plus n2 u2, which is shape function for node 2 multiplied by x directional deformation at node 2. Are you with me? चलो देखते हैं whether it is giving me the correct results or not. ये देखने की कोशिश करते हैं. Similarly, y directional deformation at any point in between the element, I am going to write it as n2u2 n1 v1 plus n2 v2, and z directional deformation, I am going to write it as n1 w1 plus n2 w2. Are you with me? Now, let us try and calculate the value of u using this expression at node 1. At node 1. So tell me, at node 1, what is the value of x? So what should I write? U is equal to n1. What is n1? X minus x2 upon x1 minus x2. u1 plus n2 u2. What is n2? X minus x1 upon x2 minus x1. This is n2 into u2. At first node, what is the value of x? Can you type in chat box? At node number 1, what is the value of x? Node number 1 corresponds to x equal to what? x1. So if I substitute x equal to x1 here, what is going to happen? Tell me. x1 minus x2 upon x1 minus x2 is 1. So I get u is equal to 1 into u1 plus x1 minus x1 is 0. So 0 into u2. So at node 1, do I get u equal to u1, which I should get? Are you with me? Please type your response if you understood the point that I am trying to make. Yes. Now let us look at what happens at node 2. So at node 2, what is the value of x? Tell me. X is equal to x2. Now I'm going to substitute that. So u is equal to x2 minus x2 upon x1 minus x2 times u1 plus x2 minus x1 upon x2 minus x1 times u2. So it is equal to 0 times u1 plus 1 times u2. So at node 2, I get u is equal to u2, which I should get. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. Have you understood this? Yes. So anywhere in between, the u will, and the same is true for v and w. You can repeat this exercise for v and w. So what is the shape function? Shape function allows me to interpolate u within u, v, and w within the element, knowing the nodal displacements. So n1 u1 plus n2 u2. This is the interpolation function. So I am expressing u anywhere in the element as a function of x and nodal displacements. Now mind you, this n1 and n2, these are functions of x. Happy? Functions of x. So making this u as a function of x, the onus is on n1 and n2. So to be precise, u of x within the element, this x is not multiplication with u, x is the argument. U as a function of x is given as n1 u1 plus n2 u2, where n1 and n2 are functions of x, whereas u1 and u2 are constants. These are nodal displacements. Are you with me? Please type your response in chat box if you understood this. Type your response in chat box if you understood this. Yes. So now, अब जरा यहाँ पे ध्यान दो. Can you tell me what will be the strain here? Strain क्या होगा? जरा बताओ मुझे. If I try to write down epsilon xx, what will be epsilon xx? Tell me. Won't it be dou u by dou x? Happy? Are you with me? Yes. So if it is dou u by dou x, then what it actually will be? It will be dou n1 by dou x u1. U1 is, mind you, not a function of x, so it is dou n1 by dou x plus dou n2 by dou x into u2. Do you agree with me? Type your response in chat box. Yes. So now, can you tell me how do I write in this particular case? What is n1? What is n1? Tell me. N1 is x minus x2 upon x1 minus x2. If I differentiate this with reference to x, what am I going to get? I will get 1 upon x1 minus x2. Do you agree with me? 1 upon x1 minus x2 times u1. Happy? Type your response in chat box. Waiting for the responses. Devayani, Pooja, Medha, Rahul, Shubham. Have you understood this? Okay. And now what is the value of dou n2 by dou x? So dou n2 by dou x is going to be 1 upon x2 minus x1. So can I write it as 1 upon x2 minus x1 times u2? अब जरा यहाँ पे ध्यान दो, जो एप्सिलॉन xx की वैल्यू में कैलकुलेट कर रहा हूं, इसमें कोई भी टर्म ऐसा है कि जो कि फंक्शन ऑफ x है? नो. x1 is the coordinate of first node, x2 is the coordinate of second node, u1 is the deformation at node 1. This is not a function of x. 1 upon x2 minus x1 and u2, they are not functions of x. So you will understand that epsilon xx is a constant. Even if you change x within the element, epsilon xx is going to remain constant. Do you agree with me? Type your response. Yes. So therefore इसी एलिमेंट का दूसरा एक नाम है, इसको हम बोलते हैं 1D linear element. Sorry, 1D two node element. I'm sorry, 1D two node element. इसके साथ साथ इस एलिमेंट के डिस्क्रिप्टर्स में, these are the descriptors of the element, इसमें मैं एक और चीज ऐड कर सकता हूं, क्या? कांस्टेंट स्ट्रेन एलिमेंट. डू यू एग्री विथ मी? कांस्टेंट strain element. Why? Because the strain is not a function of x within the element. Happy? Tell me if you have understood this. Type your response in chat box. I am waiting for the responses. हर टाइम सब लोगों के नाम लेने पड़ेंगे क्या? रिस्पॉन्स फास्ट आना चाहिए. Okay, so this is a constant strain element. Now look at the displacement. If I look at u of x, it is n1 u1 plus n2 u2, but n1 and n2 both are first order functions of x. So therefore u of x is going to be the first power function of x. Do you agree with me? It is going to be the first power function of x. It is not going to involve quadratic powers, cubic powers, or higher powers. Do you agree with me? So therefore we can say that the displacement within the element varies as the linear function of x. Therefore हम इसी element को और एक नाम देते हैं, linear element. What is linear? The variation of displacement within the element is linear. What is constant? The strain is constant. So we call it as a constant strain element, 1D two node element, or we also call it as a linear element. Are you with me? These are the descriptors for this element. Happy? Type your response in chat box. Yes. So इसमें से कोई भी डिस्क्रिप्टर आपके सामने टॉस किया जा सकता है. You have to understand which element we are talking about. 1D 2 node constant strain linear element. This is what we have done now. Now जो इंटरपोलेशन हमें करना था, क्या वो अचीव हो गया? Yes. I am able to express displacement within the element as a function of nodal displacement. So I am through. Now we are going to deal with the next element in the line. So for few lectures here on, what we are going to do is we are going to develop these interpolation functions for various elements. किस तरीके से कंटिन्यूम को डिस्क्रिटाइज किया जा सकता है, बहुत सारे एलिमेंट्स से डिस्क्रिटाइज किया जा सकता है. तो उसमें से एक एलिमेंट था वन डायमेंशनल टू नोड एलिमेंट. नाउ लेट अस डील विथ वन डायमेंशनल इटसेल्फ बट थ्री नोड एलिमेंट. आर यू विथ मी? Just a second. We are now going to deal with one dimensional but three node element. And where is that third node? For sake of argument, let us not take that node at the midspan. Midspan में नहीं लेंगे हम ये node. Are you with me? So 1D three node element. Happy? How does this element look like? So this is the element, this is the first node, this is the second node, and this is the third node. Intentionally I am not taking this node as midspan. It should not cause any wrong understanding of the concept. So 1D three node element. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. यहाँ तक समझ में आया? Okay. And we will say that x coordinate of node 1 is x1, x coordinate of node 2 is x2, and x coordinate of node 3 is x3. Still it is one dimensional element, so we will always align x along the length of the element. Happy? So only एक ही coordinate का हमें ध्यान रखना है. It is not y and z coordinates which are important. Only x1, x2, x3 are important. Happy? Type your response in chat box if you understood till this point. Okay. And now naturally I am going to have three shape functions. So what is the condition on n1? अब थोड़ा सा हम ये दिमाग में सोचना चालू करने वाले हैं. ये सेकंड एग्जांपल है इसलिए मैं लिखता हूँ. व्हाट इज द कंडीशन ऑन n1? इट शुड बी 1 at 1. It should be 0 at all other nodes. So it should be 0 at 2 and it should be 0 at 3. Do you agree with me? This is the condition that n1 has to satisfy. Happy? Type your response in chat box. Yes. So पहले कौन सी condition satisfy करेंगे? The first thing to do is to satisfy conditions where I want this function to be 0. So where do I want this function to be 0? At 2 and 3. So naturally I will have to incorporate x minus x2, which is the coordinate of second node, multiplied by x minus x3, which is the coordinate of third node. You will understand that at 2 and 3 it is 0. It is not 0 anywhere else. So it is 2 at node number 2 and at node number 3. This function will become 0 if I make this choice of polynomial. Are you with me? Type your response in chat box. Go ahead. Type your response. Then I will go ahead. Okay. Now, what is the value of this function at node number 1? It will be x1 minus x2 into x1 minus x3. But at node number 1, what do I want? I want this function to become equal to 1. So can I write it as x1 minus x2 multiplied by x1 minus x3. This will ensure that at node number 1, this function will become 1. Happy? Type your response in chat box. Yes. Okay. So n1 is equal to this one. Can you tell me, look at this and tell me what should be n2? अब मैं ये सब नहीं लिखने वाला हूँ. I want n2 to be 0 at 1. So what should I have? X minus x1. Naturally, I want n2 to be 0 at 3. So what do I want? X minus x3. मन ही मन में ये सोचने हैं कंडीशन. And I want it to be equal to 1 at 2. So क्या करना पड़ेगा? x2 minus x1 and x2 minus x3 से डिवाइड करना पड़ेगा. Do you agree with me? This is n2. Yes. Can you tell me what is the value of n3? Yes, go ahead and tell me the value of n. चलो पहला टर्म लिखो, न्यूमरेटर लिखो. आप चैट बॉक्स में लिखो. अगर अनम्यूट नहीं करना है तो चैट बॉक्स में तो लिखो न्यूमरेटर. व्हाट शुड बी द न्यूमरेटर? आई एम वेटिंग फॉर योर आंसर. What is the condition? n3 should be equal to 1 at 3 and it should be 0 at 1 and 2. So tell me what should be the numerator? X minus x1 and x minus x2. Very good. So x minus x1 and into x minus x2. This should be the numerator. And what should be the denominator? It should be x3 minus x1 upon x3 minus x2 because I want this to be 1 at 3. Happy? So n1, n2, n3 are the shape functions that satisfy the conditions that we have laid. And now can you tell me, how do I write u within the element? U as a function of x within the element will be given as, tell me, n1 u1 plus n2 u2 plus n3 u3. The onus of making this terms function of x is on n1, n2 and n3. u1, u2, u3 are constants. That you have to understand. u1, u2, u3 are x directional deformations at node number 1, 2 and 3. So they are constants. They are not going to vary as I change x. Do you agree with me? Type your response in chat box. I need your response in chat box. Are you with me till this point? Okay. Now you will observe that n1, n2 and n3, all these functions, they involve product of this x and x. So they are going to be functions of x square. Do you agree with me? n1, n2 and n3, all of them, they are going to involve terms in x square. Do you agree with me? Type your response in chat box. Yes. So what should be the descriptor of this element? ये descriptor हम बताएंगे और आज के लिए यही रुकेंगे. So what is the descriptor? It is 1D, no doubt. It is 3 node, no doubt. But it is not a linear element. The displacement is not varying linearly because displacement within the element is n1 u1 plus n2 u2 plus n3 u3. u1 u2 u3 are constants, but n1 n2 n3 are functions of second power of x. So therefore it is a quadratic element. Do you agree with me? So quadratic term stands for the displacement variation within the element. It is the square function of x. And what about the strain? If I take epsilon xx, it is going to be dou u by dou x. When I do dou u by dou x, n1 का first derivative, n2 का first derivative, n3 का first derivative with x. So अगर n1, n2, n3 quadratic है, तो उनका first derivative linear होने वाला है, first power रहने वाला है. So it is linear strain element. Do you agree with me? Linear strain element. So it is 1D 3 node quadratic linear strain element. Quadratic stands for the way in which displacement is varying as a function of x within the element. Linear strain stands for the strain is varying as linear function of x within the element. Are you with me? Have you understood these descriptors? If yes, please type yes in chat box. And then you can type your PRN number and name, and then you can leave the meeting.
Sir, N3 denominator.
Pardon?
N3 is denominator, please correct.
Yeah, it should be x3 minus x2.
X2.
Yes, you're right.